Welcome to part 2 of me presenting examples of YouTuber Ryan Cyr's girlfriend, Dasha, harassing my girlfriend, Mina Bell. If you're new to my channel, I highly suggest checking out the videos I've linked in the description below. It is a bit of a commitment, but it'll definitely catch you up. However, if I had to quickly summarize what's going on, I'd say that Cyr was my best friend for many years, and then we had a nasty falling out. For whatever reason, his girlfriend insists on harassing and trying to smear my girlfriend's name. And of course, me and my girlfriend Mina have been hearing about it, and we've known. However, what really pushed me to make these videos is the fact that she posted 142 times on a gossip forum and included pictures of Mina naked as well as a picture of her passport. That's what really infuriated me. Not only that, but she's also been spreading a lot of damaging rumors about Mina that are simply untrue. Since the first video, Dasha has already made herself a victim and said that I'm spreading lies and sending her hate bots. I'm not sending you hate bots or encouraging anyone to hate on you. If anything, I'm simply showing the evidence of the things you have done, the things that you've done to harass my girlfriend and encourage hate onto her. When you make yourself a public figure on the internet, you've got to expect some sort of backlash when you spread so much negativity. But of course, I'm not surprised because as I said in the other video, I knew you were gonna play victim, and it's much easier for you to say that I'm the reason you're disabling your Instagram temporarily, it's already back, and that I'm lying. Now, I know this is a long video and there's a lot of information to absorb, so in case you don't finish it in one sitting or you wanna go back to a specific spot, I've added time codes to each topic that I'll be discussing in the description of the video down below. First, I'd like to dedicate this segment to Dasha, her fans, and anyone else who might be skeptical of whether Dasha actually wrote those posts or not. One of Dasha's fans was commenting on Mina's Instagram, and she was saying that she didn't believe that Dasha would post a picture of Mina's passport or the naked pictures of her, and that Mina's iCloud could have been hacked. First of all, in order for your iCloud to be hacked, you have to use the service, which Mina doesn't. So in case you don't know, iCloud is a monthly subscription service by Apple that allows you to save and store all your phone data onto an online server. Alternatively, you can just store and save all your data onto your phone and nobody can access it unless, of course, they have access to your phone. Which again, Dasha admitted in the past to going through Mina's phone and deleting her Instagram. When I first emailed the gossip website's administrator to take down Mina's passport picture, they actually let me know that they were already suspicious of that same person posting over 100 times with an intense vendetta against Mina and always praising Dasha, as well as posting inside information without being able to provide any proof. Eventually, they were able to match her IP, which matched every single post that she made. If that's not enough, Dasha also made this post on the thread in which she says, "Have you seen this?" As you can see, the screenshot provided is just tweets from Dasha bashing on Mina. But if you look a little closer into those tweets, you can see that they are her screenshots, because when you log onto Twitter, you can see your own tweets analytics on the little corner. It shows a little graph, but only on your own tweets. For example, take a look at this tweet, for example. This is my tweet. If you go to my timeline or if you go look at my tweet, you will not see that graph because you are not my account. Only I can see that graph. So only the person that takes a screenshot, only the person that is on that account can see that little analytics graph. And just to address that tweet real quick, Mina did not say that you copied her. Someone sent Mina this picture, which she posted several days after Mina had posted this picture, and we did a live show in which we asked people.
I don't know, this is why I asked you guys, take my picture in, and now tell me if you think this person has taken inspiration.
She never once used the word copy. I have the whole live stream if you want to watch it. It's like an hour long, and then we only talked about you for a few minutes, but never once did we use the word copy. Also, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being influenced by other people. She was just wondering if she was being a little paranoid because, again, there's been a lot of coincidences with you, so she was just seeing what people thought. Now, I could be wrong, and you can dethrone me as the king of receipts, but I have never seen Mina say that you have copied her, but I have, on the other hand, seen plenty of times where you have claimed or complained that she copies you, which of course I personally find to be a peculiar claim considering all the people and companies you have followed after Mina has followed first, but we'll get back into that later. If for whatever reason you're still doubtful of her posting all those lies and hateful things, I will continue to show other receipts that support and echo the things she was already saying in the forum. So like, it's not like she only said those things in the forum. I'm gonna show you things that she was saying in the forum, but to specific people. I find Mina worse than Dasha by now. Dasha might be crazy, but she isn't trying to hide it. Okay, a little bit of honesty there. After all, Mina only started talking to Cyr and Dasha for clout and to get with Ian. Are you seriously still trying to sell this story? Dasha, why can't you give it a rest? You reached out to Mina, and it was really confusing because you would always be talking shit about Mina, and when we would question you, me, Cyr, and Sam's Cyr's old roommate, you would say, "Oh, I'm only pretending to be her friend so I could destroy her." And Cyr even repeated this to a mutual friend who already confirmed it in another video. You only talked to Mina so you could destroy her. You reached out to her. She never reached out to you. And Kate said, yeah, she said she was pretending to be her friend so she could destroy her. I said, thanks. I just wanted to type it so Mina could read it and know that it wasn't just once that she said it. Because she didn't just say it to me once and to Sam once. She said it very many times. No, I've known, which is why I hated Dasha ever since I met her. Cyr told me the day I helped y'all move. I asked why he was okay with that and it's fucked up. And he said they fight a lot so he just keeps quiet. And the Ian part, how would talking to you and Cyr get her to iDubbbz? That's so random. Ever since the drama, Dasha's been relentlessly trying to sell the story that Mina's a social climber and oh, she'd be nothing without me and Cyr. We made her. It's because of us that she has followers. Oh, please. And then I even remember somebody asking you on Twitter, do you think Edwin and Mina are dating? And you said, no, he doesn't have enough followers. She only goes after people with big numbers. Mina doesn't post as much on Insta as she used to. Think she might got a job that's not fucking old guys for money? Holy shit, are you serious? Now at this point, I'm no longer surprised that Dasha keeps up with every single one of Mina's posts. However, I am absolutely appalled by this line. Think she might got a job that's not fucking old guys for money. Now, obviously this line is loaded with so much shame towards sex work, which is confusing to me because not only is Mina not actually someone that sleeps with guys for money, that is such a strange thing, but the most confusing part is the fact that Dasha does this, or she did this when I knew her at least. So as I said before, everything that you're accused of or that you do, you project onto Mina for some reason. Remember in my old video when I talked about how Dasha was in a fight with her former best friend? Sometime after Christmas, back in LA, in my bed, ready to go to bed at like 3 a.m. But I'm taking selfies with Paco the Taco for Twitter. And all of a sudden I hear Dasha crying in the living room and I'm like, what's wrong? It turns out that Dasha was having a fight with her now former best friend and I was trying to calm down the whole situation because I was also texting the best friend like, hey, let's chill out and trying to tell Dasha she doesn't mean it, you know, that kind of thing. Well, the fight started because Dasha had been trash talking her friend Lindsay over social media. And when Lindsay saw all that, she got very angry and impulsively reacted by texting Cyr Dasha's secret that she had been keeping from Cyr from the beginning, which is that Dasha sleeps with older guys for money. Dasha had already told me back in November of 2016 when Cyr had gone to Ohio for Thanksgiving with his family, so I wasn't surprised when Lindsay told me this. So Lindsay is venting to me over text, and shortly after Dasha comes out crying, and at this point I'm having to comfort these two women trying to facilitate a solution for them. I told Lindsay, I don't think you should expose her to Vincent. It's sensitive and she had told me it's not a secret she plans to keep forever. She says, it's too late, dude. I texted him to tell him and then blocked everyone. Like, she dragged me to her internet posse. People aren't smart enough to question a lie just because she had nothing better to do. That is the lowest of the low. And you know, I argued for Dasha. I said to Lindsay, you do mean a lot to her. There's been a loss in translation. She's crying and upset because she cares. To which Lindsay says, no fucking way. I would agree if half of anything she had said was true, but it wasn't. And honestly, it's about time she owns up to who she is and what she's about, because lying to everyone she cares about has led her to this, and that is her own fault. And instead, she chose to blame me. Again, at this point, I so strongly believed in Dasha and that she was a decent person, so I said to Lindsay, I didn't agree with the post Dasha shared, but she felt bad. I don't think she went about it the right way, but you shouldn't say such extreme things, Lindsay. She responded with, honestly, Edwin, if you had been through what I have with her, you would feel the same way. And looking at this now, wow. A couple weeks go by and I'm texting Lindsay telling her how I felt after Cyr had kicked me out, and then she tells me how Cyr had blocked her on Instagram and her phone number, but I told her, oh no honey, Dasha did all that, and I told her how Dasha went into Cyr's phone after she had texted him because Dasha saw like the incoming text and she just logged into his phone and deleted all those messages and made sure to block her so Lindsay wasn't able to tell her Dasha's secret. Dasha makes fun of Mina for accidentally using a non-vegan makeup brand, saying her excuse was lame. You're really going full vegan police on Mina for accidentally using non-vegan makeup that was gifted to her? You, the same person that on at least 3 separate occasions has done sponsorships for leather accessories? The beautiful ItsBabyDash. #leather. So as you see, she's promoting a black leather choker that's worth 89 pounds. Dasha works with a watch company called Daniel Wellington. And as you can see, she's wearing a black leather watch, which she says, go use my code ItsBabyDash for a discount. Go buy this leather watch. Whoa, Edwin, don't go so hard on her. That's only 2 times. Just in May, she posted about how happy she is that Germany has ended fur farming. Okay, you're right. Why am I going so hard on her? Because the next Instagram post she has is literally her promoting a leather camera bag. And let's not forget when you bought Mina agua de horchata from the corner shop, which is definitely not vegan. Girl, please, your hypocrisy is not doing the vegan community any good. Just give it a rest. Someone brought up Cyr cheating on Mina and Dasha denied it. Whew. Cyr even said he broke up with Mina before he had sex with Dasha. He saw her, but they weren't flirting. When did he say that? Did he whisper it in your ear right before you typed this in this forum? Now, let me tell you something else that he said to me while he was still dating Mina, was that he hooked up with you, but he didn't have sex. So you're right about that part. That's what he told me as well. He said that you guys didn't have sex, but you hooked up and there was a lot of choking. That's what he told me. And then after that, he didn't know how to tell Mina, but he felt too guilty. So he just basically ghosted Mina.
I didn't fucking do anything wrong. I have not done anything wrong.
And Cyr, I know you're extremely avoidant, so I doubt you're watching this or at least the whole video, but in the rare chance that this message does reach you, have you ever wondered how Mina knew you cheated on her with Dasha so quickly? Because apparently she received a message on Instagram from a random private account saying, hey, take a look at the Snapchat story, and it was Dasha's Snapchat, and it was you sleeping in bed with her. So she took a Snapchat story, and it was you next to her sleeping and you were both naked. So just so you know, that's exactly how she found out that you were cheating on her. And like I said, you had already told me this before and you randomly brought it up in a text and I put it in a video, somebody brought it up and Dasha defended it by saying, and Dasha explained that too. She's not as evil as you paint her. She felt bad for Mina, so she made him apologize and admit to cheating even though it wasn't true? Okay, so let's pretend that he didn't actually admit it to me back in May or June of 2016 and that he was in fact lying to Mina when he apologized for cheating. Then why almost 2 months later is he casually saying it in a conversation that he messed up when he cheated on Mina? Now, Mina is not the only girl who has ever called out Cyr for cheating publicly before, so somebody went ahead and called him a serial cheater, to which Dasha says, who else did he cheat on then? Do we have any girls saying he did, or are you gonna come at me with Edwin and Mina and claim that? Ever since I stopped being friends with Cyr, girls have periodically seen my videos and my stories about how he treated me, and they sort of related in a different way, obviously, but they've told me their story of how he used them or manipulated them or cheated on them or took advantage of them. So I already have quite a few stories that show me what kind of person he is and how he is in fact a cheater. And honestly, I can sort of see the perspective of trying to defend your boyfriend's reputation, doing some damage control. Maybe he hasn't even cheated on you. Maybe you haven't found out. But Dasha, the one thing you're not gonna do is act as if Cyr is an angel and very respectful to women, because that is the one thing he certainly is not. There is no tweets. He may have cheated on Mina, although it's a reach, but you can't prove anything else. Okay, so she admits that maybe he cheated on Mina, but definitely nobody else. Dasha, are you sure about that? Are you sure? Because as you say, maybe people on the internet can't definitively prove that he's cheated on women, but I certainly can. In fact, I have plenty of stories, like I said earlier. So if you want to challenge me, because that's what it sounds like you're trying to step on my toes and challenge me to prove you otherwise. In fact, if there's other stories from other girls that may be watching this, and I may be missing your story, that of how Cyr has used you up or screwed you over in some way, then feel free to hit my inbox. You can stay anonymous, and to anybody that worries that they may be fake stories, I will of course extensively make sure that they aren't. Although honestly, I don't really care to make a video just to expose the guy as a serial cheater. Essentially, I'm kind of doing that right now, even though it has been an open secret. But if I do find out something that he's done that's like really crossing the line, then maybe you don't even have to challenge me, Yulia, and I will do a video. But again, I hope I don't have to. While we're on the topic of Cyr, I want to quickly address some comments that I periodically get asking if I think he's a victim being manipulated by Dasha, or if I would be friends with him if he happened to leave Dasha. Now, the short answer for all that is a big fat no. However, I do have a longer answer for you if you're interested. Last year, I struggled a lot mentally trying to accept that my best friend would kick me out of our apartment spontaneously, and that he would also accept his girlfriend smiling at me as he was doing it. I struggled to understand how he would justify her explicitly telling me that she was gonna fucking ruin my life. I could not understand the logic between this, and this really fucked with my head. Because I did tell him the things Dasha was saying, and I did tell him the way she was treating me, but he didn't seem to care. I struggled to understand that. I struggled to understand how he was okay with pinning his YouTube friends against me publicly. He was having them tweet at me and having their followers tweet at me in my hardest times. I struggled to really understand the logic between all of this, amongst other many things. Mentally, I just could not grasp it, because for the longest time when I was friends with him, I always saw the good in him, you know? I always wanted to see the good in him, and I just could not accept that he would allow all this to happen, all this hatred for someone that he's known for so long. It was extremely difficult for me to let go of that memory, that image that I had of him, you know? It really messed with my head, but I'm very grateful to say that I finally have. He's just not the person I thought he was, and Maybe he never was. As far as him being a victim of manipulation, I believe the expiration date for that is long gone. I mean, you can't stand next to someone who's done so much harm for as long as he has and then still claim innocence. Just because he has not been as verbal against me or Mina, it does not take away his complicity and his enabling of Dasha's actions. Cyr is and always has been 100% enabling Dasha by allowing her to continue to lie about her harassment and her illegal actions, even when they are being spelled out for the entire internet to see. And for that, fuck you, Cyr. So earlier this month, Trisha Payta was tweeting a lot about her upcoming 30th birthday party, and so I jokingly tweeted to her, "Hey, I lost my invite to your party, DM me if you want." And someone in the thread said, "Wow, look at Edwin begging to be invited to Trisha's party." And you know, I get it. You hate someone or you don't like him, you're gonna interpret things as you please, and that's fine. But then Dasha replies, "That's embarrassing. Must be hard for Edwin to see Dasha go, LOL, LOL. Does Trisha even follow him?" So now reading Dasha's response and seeing how she also can't seem to comprehend a joke tweet makes me feel inclined to explain the joke, which is one of the cringiest things. I hate explaining jokes, especially when they're joke tweets, you know? They're not really meant to be funny or provoke anything more than a grin or a chuckle. So the first part of the joke is that I obviously did not get an invite to the party, hence why I'm saying, "I lost my invitation. DM me if you want." And that's the second part of the joke. You can DM me because I can't DM you because you don't follow me back, you know? That's the whole joke. I hate explaining jokes, especially because, again, this isn't meant to be, haha, that's so funny, Edwin. It's not begging for an invite. I didn't expect to drop everything and drive 6 hours to LA just to go to someone's party whom I've never met. I don't care. I didn't actually care if she invited me or not, dude. I've never met her. I've seen her in David Dobrik's vlogs, and I think her interaction with Jason Nash is funny. What's next? If I tweet at Elon Musk asking for a Tesla, people are gonna be like, "Oh, look at Edwin begging for a free Tesla." It's like a man can't tweet anybody anymore without people being all up in my business. Then Dasha says, "Now that Dasha actually started hanging out with Trisha, Edwin and Mina need to step up their copy game again and make another video on how much Mina loves Trisha." I don't know what to say to this. This absolutely does not make sense to me. We need to step up our copy game. We do have a vlog where Mina sings one of Trisha's songs, but what? Like, I don't understand if that means that we're copying you. I have like math equations in front of me, but I still can't seem to process this strange... We gotta move on. What do you think is gonna happen once Edwin breaks up with Mina? Do you guys think they'll ever break up? Here you're starting a conversation about whether me and Mina will break up. Why? Since I announced that I was making this video, some of Dasha's fans have tweeted me and they seem to think that Dasha hasn't done a goddamn thing and that she's just trying to move on. But Dasha, we both know that's not true because you don't just keep your shit talking on Mina strict to anonymous gossip forums. I'm gonna be showing you some testimonials and I have blocked out their usernames because I don't want Dasha or any of her fans to go after them just like she's done to Mina in the past. But if I do read your tweet and Dasha figures out who you are based on the content of the message and she decides for whatever reason to harass you or send any of her fans to harass you, please let me know immediately. We're not gonna let this slide anymore. I don't remember exactly if it was before Mina met Vincent or if it was around the time Vincent started seeing Dasha, but he followed me and sent me a few DMs expressing interest. I was and still am happy in my relationship and of course did not reply to him. Flash forward to when Mina was in LA and her and Dasha were posting pictures together, I would comment and compliment them. Soon after, Dasha would follow me and start messaging me. First, she would ask if I've ever been involved with Vincent and why he had messaged me, to which I didn't reply. And later on, it got weirder when she would ask things like, who do you think is prettier, me or Mina? Can you unfollow her? Etc, etc. All very strange to me, who from an outsider perspective thought they looked very close. When I didn't respond to her messages, she told me to unfollow her boyfriend and called me a bitch. A few days later I was blocked by Vincent and she removed all of Mina's interactions with my account, clearly hacking Mina, and that's the whole story. When I messaged you, anyway, I had messaged Dasha too because I was really curious just because of how similar you both looked. She replied quickly and without really even asking, she went on and on about how you copied her and all this stuff, saying you were a prostitute and all these things. She made you sound like the devil itself and I'm afraid to say I believed her. I was really naive and stupid about the situation at the time. She seemed like she had so much evidence and this led me to sort of stray from you and unfollow you. I remember I related to her because at the same time some girl I wasn't quite fond of copied me a lot and so I felt like I finally had someone I could relate and vent to, but after seeing your video with your friend, things kind of just turned around for me. So again, all these things that she tells other social media influencers in DMs about Mina echo what she said in this forum. So it's like a vendetta, like a really strict vendetta against Mina with all these unfounded lies. Girl, I just went through and was approving followers and following ones who seemed cool back, and Dasha was one of them, and I swear she's only requested as soon as I commented on your photo, but I literally only realized after liking a few pictures, and then I remembered who she was, and now I'm biding my time before I unfollow her because, to be honest, she scares me. Love you, doll. Mina sent her videos explaining how she wasn't totally surprised because a lot of people had been recently messaging her the same thing, that right after they posted a comment on Mina's photos, Dasha would like one of their photos and maybe even sometimes follow them. This is a message someone sent Mina after they hung out with Dasha. I'm so energy sensitive that hanging out with her left me so drained and felt so off because she was just talking about you and Edwin the whole time, and I was trying to get her to see a different side because she's so manipulating and she knows how crazy she is. Believe me, she knows, and it keeps her up at night.
When I met Dasha last year, it was in LA and we had only known each other from online. I went to her apartment to meet her, and within the first 10 minutes of meeting her and going up to her place, she brought up Edwin and Mina. And as soon as I walked into her apartment, like, my stomach just had like a knot inside of it. Just her energy towards every other being, including her dog, was just so... Whew. It actually gives me like, my whole body is like coming down with like anxiety thinking about being in her place and being in this moment. We went up to her rooftop and we had some wine, and immediately she just started spilling the tea of like really intimate details of hers and Mina's friendship. Basically, like, the whole hangout was like revolved around like asking me like what she should do about Mina, and there was like two different like sides of her, and she would bring it out where she was like wanted to do like really evil things and say like really really mean things, like things like she had in her head that she like wanted to do, and I told her like, you cannot do that, you know, like karma is real, and she understands that it was, so it seemed, and then there would be a side of her that, you know, she really wanted to be friends with Mina, and she really wanted to have that whatever they had back, like matching twin things, and she was talking about how she missed taking pictures together and her living here, and she talked about how much she did for Mina. Apparently, I don't know like how much of that was true, but I know that, you know, they were friends at one point, and I know that she really 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 did miss her, and she just seemed so like hurt, and I feel like she was just really like jealous of Mina. That was like really really apparent.
When the drama was still active, one of my viewers messaged you to get your side of the story, and then you told them that you were gonna make sure your photographers thought of Mina in a negative way. You said, I wanted to fly her out because she apologized to me, because she has told me about how bad England and her parents are. Again, you were well aware she was coming from a very crappy situation, and I could relate to her. I saw a younger, more inexperienced version of myself in her, and I wanted to help her. Wanted to hook her up with an agency and my photographers, which now all know about her in a negative way, which I made sure of. Now, I don't know how true this is or how many photographers you may have told this to, but one definitely came forward and talked to Mina about her experience with you. I shot her for a brand, and I got there at 10 and asked where she was, and she told me she didn't feel like coming until 1. So I had to sit there and wait until she came, and we ordered food, and even though she ordered what she wanted, the company paid, she refused to eat and sat there with her arms folded while I ate, and then kept saying she was gonna pass out while shooting, and the company bought a bunch of clothes to return, and she knew that and ripped the tags off of everything and left the clothes laying everywhere wadded up. And she complained the whole time and was trying to shit talk the company, and I felt so uncomfortable because that's not a bridge I'm trying to burn, and they had a dog, and she kept saying how gross dogs are and how she poisoned her ex-boyfriend with laxatives because he dumped her, and of course she talked about you 24/7 and would get so fired up. I don't know, man, she scares me. Her energy is like, don't fuck with me or I will ruin your life. Okay, I can vouch for that. And then a few weeks later, she told the company she wanted free shoes, and of course, they didn't respond because she was horrible, and she tried calling me every day like I could even do something about that, and it made me nervous she was gonna make that company hate me, and then she told them they couldn't use the images we took of her. In my previous video, I talked about how Dasha would complain when Mina would work with the same Instagram companies as Dasha and saying that Mina was only doing it to copy her. However, when Mina and Dasha were still friends, Mina was noticing that Dasha was following a lot of the people that Mina was following on her social media, and this also included like Instagram brands and stuff. Dasha continued to follow people and brands that Mina followed first, even after they were no longer friends, and of course, this is something very difficult to prove because there's no way, at least to my knowledge, no website or anything that shows when someone follows another person. But a company did reach out to Mina and let her know that Dasha wanted to collaborate, but only after Mina already had. This isn't even a big company. This is a small business run by 2 girls with 785 followers. Now I understand it's easy to be skeptical, maybe it's just another huge coincidence, so I want to present to you another example. Last September, my friend Kasara told me she received an email from Dasha asking if she was interested in collaborating with her. Now the interesting part about this is that Kasara's company did not really have much of an Instagram presence. In fact, at the time they only had 26 followers and Mina was one of them. If you still think this is a coincidence, then that's fine, there's no convincing you. However, what's even creepier, I think universally, is if you notice she's using her friend's name, her former friend's name. She's not even friends with this person anymore. She's using her friend's name under the email. Why isn't she using her own name? I mean, I totally understand pretending to be your own agent to maybe get a better deal with collaborations, but she's signing her own name, yet the email says her former friend's name. I had to delay the video for about a day because I received some messages from someone that I totally did not expect to hear from. This is one of Dasha's former fans and one of her most notable minions, and we called her amongst other Dasha fans minions because they would literally do anything that Dasha would say at the snap of a finger. Like they were always harassing me and Mina, making memes, making accounts just to continue harassing us. So naturally I ignored her messages until I saw one of her Snapchats requesting that I open them. She says, "Just watched the video on Dasha and I know it's very late, but I wanted to say I'm genuinely sorry for all the shit I gave both you and Mina. The pics of Mina being edited to be hyper skinny, she'd shown me and told me she did it herself, and it was something to do with bulimia/anorexia, and it really sucks that she'd lie about something like that." Right here she's referring to the pictures where Dasha edited Mina to be hyper skinny and posted it on another gossip forum, not even the one that I've been talking about recently. And again, it sounds to me that Dasha is once again projecting her eating disorders onto Mina because she has openly admitted that she's had an eating disorder in the past. And it confuses me and hurts me that she would kind of like spread this about Mina. And like full disclosure, I've lived with Mina. She's not anorexic. Like people like us, we just happen to be skinny. Like I don't understand. We could do an entire 24-hour live stream and you guys would see that we eat normally, but people will still insist that we're anorexic or whatever. And I find it disgusting that she's pushing this agenda onto her fans and onto gossip forums, etc. Okay, so I replied the next day and told her that, to be honest, I saw the name Charlie and I skipped over the message because obviously you're a very strong alliance and well, last time you leaked our messages, but I saw your Snapchat and now I'm listening. Me and someone else from the group chat we had with Dash realized that she had bullshitted a lot with us, like a lot. Mainly stuff you proved in your video, and I felt an apology was very necessary. Honestly, all I'm gonna say is I'd get it if you didn't forgive me. I genuinely trusted Dash, or Dash, how do people say that? And I'm only recently realizing how much she actually fucked me over. It may seem like I'm just jumping on a new bandwagon, but I just feel like I should get it all off of my chest before leaving it behind. I recently began to realize that she had been manipulating me by acting like I was important to her, calling me a good friend, etc., when she literally just used me to send you and Mina hate. She'd tell me word for word what to tweet and comment. She would ask me to create content to get back at you both. I only realized all this when she pretty much entirely cut me off for wanting to remain neutral, and it made me feel hella shitty. This is a screenshot she sent me of a conversation she had with Dasha on WhatsApp regarding the gossip forum, and as you can see, it shows Dasha complaining that the forum wasn't going in her favor, and then she was happy that Charlie would check the forums for her. Dasha said, "You are the best friend I have ever had, Charlie. I'll meet Russell Miller for you." Looking back, it was pretty creepy. I'm 17 but was 16 at the time, and she used to always be like, "You should come visit when you're legal," and tell me all this shit, and it genuinely feels like low-level grooming to have me do what she said. This type of stuff really infuriates me, so just wait till I'm done. Dasha told me about a fake Instagram she made to edit photos of Mina to look chubby, and she would edit food, etc. I can't remember the username, but here's one of the pics which I did find that she had edited. By the way, if you need a source to prove that she does in fact make Insta edits of Mina at all, she made this account and joined it with our group chat. It isn't really malicious and it's more just fucking around, but it's proof that she does do it. It was just a goof to edit pics of Mina and Soulja Boy as a random ship. Look, it may not be malicious, that specific example, but it displays the kinds of shit that Dasha does. Mina doesn't even know how to fucking edit pictures like this, and Dasha's been trying to pin these fucking fake accounts that edit fan pics of Mina and shit onto her. Mina barely learned how to edit a fucking dead cat onto her pictures. Okay, sorry. Again, I'm gonna try to withhold my emotions. I asked her if she wanted me to block out her name, and she said, I honestly don't care either way. She'll know it's me regardless for sure. If she gives me shit for this, I can just ignore her. A lot of people who've been following the drama will know my name from being pretty close with Dasha during it, so hopefully it's pretty reliable that even I'm saying she's manipulative. Also, something that used to bother me so much. I'm sure you remember that fan pic I wrote about you and Mina and the whole situation. I remember it, I never read it. I literally only wrote like 2 pages as a joke. Dasha absolutely would not stop bugging me to write more. I kept putting it off because I really didn't find it funny and I was over it. But every time we spoke, she'd be asking me to write more and tell me things to write about. The sexy Edwin video too, she told me to make it. It's pretty sad, I just kinda did everything she told me, but she was so persistent. I did not take any offense by this. In fact, that was the one thing that I thought was funny and not offensive at all coming from Dasha's minions. I was actually really confused because I was like, one of Dasha's fans spent time watching my vlogs, downloading them, and then editing them together to like sexy music.
Yes.
Okay. She would also ask me to ghostwrite every one of her long posts for Twitter and Instagram because she's not very good at English, and would also tell us to comment specific things on the gossip thread or yours and Mina's tweets or posts, telling us word for word what to say. I blocked out the name of the gossip thread because I don't want to direct any sort of attention to that place. Even though they exposed Dasha for posting 142 times, it does not mean that they're fans of me or Mina or anybody, you know? They like to kind of like say gossip and negative things towards everybody involved. So again, please just don't look for it. It's not a good environment. She also told me Dasha gave her Mina's number so she could prank text her. She gave me Mina's number and was subtly pressuring me into messaging and pretending to be someone she spoke to. At the time, it seemed pretty harmless and funny, but looking back and adding up how obsessed she was with her, it was pretty fucked up. I wanted to apologize to Mina personally, but she still has me blocked. I said, you messaged Mina's phone? Yeah, she kept like begging me to message her, saying how funny it'd be and everything, so I just kind of gave in. She sent me this text conversation she had with Dasha, and then Dasha just complaining like, are you texting her? I'm just so angry with her. She acts like she's all about kindness and shit, but she's always running away and hiding. I need to FaceTime you one day and tell you everything, if you want that. Again, Dasha has always wanted Mina to come face to face with her. She's always been like, stop having Edwin be your white knight lawyer. Come talk to me yourself if you have a problem with me. I am disappointed, but once again, not surprised, since it's always more convenient for you to run away and cry instead of facing the problem and telling me these things straight into my face.
Everything went fine, but for some reason she didn't seem happy, and I assume like a 20-year-old person can speak out on when she's unhappy or not.
Like, I don't understand if that was supposed to be some sort of justification for Dasha's actions, saying that she wished she hadn't shared all those details and just wished that Mina responded to her text? Huh? This is exactly why it's not happening. She then sent me a DM from Cyr from around mid last year, I guess when he was considering making a video about me. If I do a response video, it's gonna be a complete character breakdown of his principle that he's so proud of. I'll tear him apart, and I'll have the commentary community dismantle his channel. But I don't want to have to do that. Depends on the magnitude of his victim propaganda. Again, even though Cyr was not very verbal about the drama, the times that he did speak, he would always call me a victim. And isn't it just so tasteful to fuck over your best friend and just say they're playing the victim card because they happen to cry on camera? I mean, I get that I looked stupid, but shit, man. What a fucking dick. Of course, that's not the worst part of the DM. In fact, I would have loved to see him try to break down my character. That would have been fucking popcorn worthy. However, what I think is very, very pathetic and again, shows how his tactics are just so messed up is him saying, I'll have the commentary community dismantle his channel. Like, I get it, bro. One-on-one, sure, I'll make a video about you. It's fair for you to make a video about me. But for you to gather the commentary community to attempt to dismantle my channel, and I want to remind you, this is not the first time he said this.
Okay, I have a significantly larger audience than Edwin. If I was angry, I could make a dedicated video, blah, 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 whatever, get the commentary community involved, and be destructive.
And I know a lot of people like to put the halo effect onto Cyr, pretend he's a good guy because he's good looking and he keeps to himself, whatever, etc. He doesn't really dive into drama. And I'm sorry to disappoint, but he's not who you think he is. When I called him out with a direct example of how he's in an abusive relationship, he explained to me how he felt so emasculated and he hadn't felt like that in a really long time, and he felt like he was just screwing up, fucking everything up. This is how he responded.
You know what happens when you get in a fight with your significant other? What do? You talk to your friend about it. You vent to them. You say, God, dude, she's being such a fucking bitch right now. She's saying this fucked up shit. Because when you're in a fight, you say fucked up shit to each other. It's what happens when you really care about each other, and then suddenly things aren't working out. You say shit to get to each other because that's just what you do.
I don't care how extreme the fight was. What kind of girlfriend says this to their boyfriend? I never even wanted this in the first place. I never liked you and cared for you in the beginning. I literally thought it was just fun to fuck you and leave. Maybe you should have stayed with the one girl that actually cared for you. Holy shit.
And Edwin shouldn't be talking in the first place because his last real relationship, He sued his ex-girlfriend. You're not in a position to give me relationship advice or life advice.
Homeboy tried to air out my dirty laundry, and the fact is that I'm actually friends with my ex. Like, we made up and everything. Everything's cool with us. Of course, he probably assumed that I was on bad terms with my ex-girlfriend and actually texted her. She said, Cyr reached out on March 30th, so it was a while ago. He wanted to apologize for not being there when you uploaded a video about our past. And I didn't know what the story was at the time, so I was like, why? The video that I uploaded about my ex-girlfriend was already 3 years old at this point. He told me that if there was anything that I needed to let him know, but it didn't feel very genuine. And then I told Kate, and she said he was pulling the same crap with her, trying to get sympathy. I logged onto YouTube today to see your video was in my suggestion box, so I watched it and then got the bigger picture. It makes sense, and I don't doubt you or question your decisions. You explain yourself very thoroughly, and I get it now. It is your form of therapy, and you are very honest and tell from your experiences. Respect. The only reason I can think of as to why he would reach out to my ex-girlfriend would be that maybe he was trying to get dirt for that video he considered making where he would tear me apart. I mean, seriously, why else? To those that were wondering if I had any sort of interest in being friends with this guy again, I hope the answer is clear by now. Back to Charlie. She says, I remember Dasha was messaging me during one of their fights and called him something like a stupid cunt because he didn't want to tweet something aimed at you both. Cyr doesn't want to involve himself in the drama, huh, Dasha? And I'm sure Cyr has his own rationalization as to how this is completely normal behavior. I doubt you'd want to mention this either, but Dasha also told me that Mina used to be a prostitute. I forgot how it came up, but I do definitely remember wondering why it was relevant. Also, a while back, I decided to leave the group chat with Dash because it literally just felt like a chat for drama. I literally just said, it's all just drama 24/7 and I can't handle it. And that was because I had so many exams, plus I was having a really bad depressive time during, and it was so much negative energy for no reason. And Dasha found out that I had said this, and that's when she pretty much cut me off. All because I refused to be a part of the drama and because I had apologized to you to try and be neutral again. She sent me this WhatsApp conversation which she says was the last time she ever spoke to Dasha. I asked her, even till today, Dasha hasn't paid attention to you? And she said, God no, I haven't spoken to her at all in at least 6 months now. First of all, I just want to say that Charlie, yes, I do forgive you. I understand that you were heavily manipulated. I mean, Charlie was a fan of me and Cyr, you know, in the beginning. So like, I could have probably have made you my minion if I had wanted to, you know? If I trusted you so much to give you my phone number, to compliment you so much, and then like make you do my dirty work, I'm sure I could have done that, but I'm not like that. And like, to see that she gave up on you as soon as you don't want to deal with the drama, that speaks volumes. And the one thing that really disgusts me so much, one of my biggest pet peeves is when like influencers, no matter if you're a celebrity or if you're like even a smaller like YouTuber or whatever, I hate when people take advantage of their fans. This is the most disgusting thing. I don't know, it just feels so violating that you literally controlled people to harass us. Like I obviously have so much more to say, but I'm just gonna leave it right there. So the reason why I delayed the video an extra day is because one of Dasha's former fans actually came forward and gave me a lot of information as well as screenshots that I thought was extremely necessary for the video. So I'm finishing up shooting that, and then I'm going to try to get the video up as soon as possible. How do you know Dasha pushed anyone to be intimate? Cyr even said Mina told him in the elevator she wants to just date and have sex with him. Ever since the drama, Dasha has been singing 3 different tunes that really don't harmonize. The details of her story have always been inconsistent in some way or another. For example, on one hand, you say that Mina used you and Cyr to get to iDubbbz, right? And then you've also said that the 3-way relationship was Mina's idea, that she wanted to be in a relationship with both of you. And now you're saying that Mina told Cyr in the elevator that she just wanted to date him and have sex with him? And the thing is that all your stories are 100% incorrect. You know, you made these implications that Mina is some sort of social climber. Now, I don't get that impression at all. Of course, you would think that I'm biased because I'm the boyfriend, and you would think that I'm biased because I think you're the social climber. And you know, bias aside, I only want to talk about mostly what I can prove. And something that you would probably agree on as well is that you're a very good networker, you know, which is not a bad thing. But you're so good at networking that you even have a group chat with other big Instagram influencers with hundreds of thousands of followers. And how do you use your influence? To lie to them about Mina and make yourself a victim of everything you've done to her. I'm gonna be showing you some screenshots of a group chat that Dasha is in with other big social media influencers and show you the way Dasha talks about herself and the way she talks about Mina. So the conversation starts out with Cleo saying that someone was copying her, and Dasha immediately jumps in to relate and says, wait, I'll unfollow her. That sucks, dude. I actually know exactly what it's like because I have someone like that too who, in addition to copying me, tried to make it look like it's the other way around and and she's a total psychopath. Cleo says, who? I'm gonna block her stupid ass. It's a long story. Mina XX Bell. Spill tea, please. She tried breaking into my house and stole my looks and made YouTube videos and lied. She's my boyfriend's ex and tried to get back with him, made fake fan accounts for herself and bought followers. Mina bought followers? Haven't actually heard that one before, but I guess you keep on adding to your story. Mina never tried to break into your house. That one's just complete and utter bullshit, and she never stole your looks, but we already talked about that and how it's such a reach of you to even say that. She did make YouTube videos, I guess, and she made some with me, but she did not lie. I mean, most of everything we've said in our videos has been proven. I mean, that's what I like to do. I like to try to submit my emotions so like I don't come off too like, you know, emotional, but I've tried to come up with proof for most of everything I say. So, you know, if anybody in your little group chat wants to go ahead and watch those videos and you have any questions, you can go ahead and fucking ask. She's my boyfriend's ex and try to get back with him. Okay, this one's funny. Again, she's regurgitating what she had said in the comment I showed earlier, which is 100% untrue, and I will get back to that later on. You guys will see how I have a couple physical receipts to prove that wrong. Cleo Lazuli says, never mind, I wasn't even following her. I block. Now, okay, fun little tidbit. She actually was following Mina before this, and she did not block her, but she did unfollow her. Dasha says, it's a very long story which made me suicidal actually. Again, this is new, and I don't know, it doesn't sit well with me that after everything you put us through, you want to play the suicidal victim now. You have no idea how much mental anguish you caused me last year. And you know, also Mina, you didn't quite make her suicidal, but what you did to me is completely, it's so ridiculous to see you type this and try to make yourself the victim because it was extremely difficult at the time, you know, having people humiliate me constantly, and if I want to express myself about how I'm feeling, people just think I'm doing it for attention, for the joke. It's like, this is something that I've been doing from the beginning. Just because it concerns another social media influencer that will react 20 times per one tweet that I make, it doesn't mean that I'm doing it to poke at her or anything. Just because I'm upset and expressing myself as a direct result of someone harassing me, it doesn't mean that, you know. So like for the past like year and a half, I feel like I haven't been able to live stream as much, I haven't been able to tweet as much, and I wish that I seeked like therapy and stuff sooner, because I actually like talked to my therapist the other day and I told her, like, wow, it felt so good to let that out, because in another session, I wasn't able to express myself because I've always felt so ashamed of just sharing that story, because I feel like people are just sick of me and people insult me when I even open up about myself, you know? And I don't want to feel that way anymore, you know? I want to keep living my life transparently like I always have. And a lot of stuff she said about me and Mina, the lies, the insults, I have documented, so I can back it all up. I can back it all up if somebody doesn't believe it and they've seen the other two videos, they still don't believe it. I have hundreds of screenshots of what she's done. And even though I have expressed how depressed I was last year, trust me, I did not express it even the slightest to the extent of how horrible I felt. And that's because of feeling so invalidated. And I can already predict that there's gonna be backlash of people saying that it's all for views or some bullshit, man. Like, it doesn't matter what I say online, you know. Just because I put an ad on a dramatic video, people will say I'm milking it or whatever, or what I feel is not true. And I don't give a shit. I actually just don't give a shit. If she does try to excuse her sort of feeling depressed or suicidal as an excuse to all of the harassment she's put us through, and just lie about the shit she's put us through, then that'll just be the most outrageous things, you know. Like, sorry for ranting, I just really wanted to get that off my chest, because I can't understand how she is okay with saying all this stuff. Like, literally everything that she's done and everything that she's made other people feel, suddenly it's turned around and, you know, she's the victim and people are attacking her. It baffles my mind. The conversation wraps up with Cleo Lazuli saying, what? I'll kill her. That's lame. She's lame. And Yella Bambi adds in a little, gross. Cleo Lazuli has not blocked or killed Mina, so that's good. She did, however, like I said earlier, unfollowed her, which honestly it's probably for the best, considering she would joke like that. However, Yellow Bambi did block Mina, and I just want to say that I don't blame these two women for taking these minimal actions on Instagram against Mina. I don't blame them for believing Dasha, because when you look at Dasha on the surface without really getting to know her, she seems very agreeable, you know. She's vegan, she tweets a lot of feminist, pro-human rights sort of things. She's very complimentary of the people she likes, and she also has a big following on Instagram, so if you also do Instagram, then why wouldn't you want to be her friend? And once you trust her, why wouldn't you believe her? So in the case that you do follow these women, please don't judge them on that. They're misinformed, and definitely do not send them any hate. And even Dasha, I want to remind you, I'm not doing this to send a hate campaign towards her. I'm only doing this to clear Mina's name, and I definitely do not at all, in the slightest, condone the smear campaign that she had it towards me last year towards her. I do not want people tweeting her. I will not like or retweet things that are negative towards her. That's not what I want to do at all. I'm just pleading for her to stop. And I truly hope this can be my final request. The whole polyamorous relationship that Dasha claims was all Mina's idea was actually a curveball that Dasha threw at Mina after they flew Mina to LA. Cyr Dasha flew Mina to LA without providing her a place to sleep and just assumed that she would be okay with sharing a queen-size bed with the two of them. Keep in mind, this is sharing the same bed as your ex-boyfriend and the girl he cheated on you with. Honestly, of course, the immediate criticism is, Mina, what the hell are you thinking? It's definitely one of the most questionable decisions on Mina's behalf, but if you consider the context, Dasha had been blowing her up, being super kind to her, super complimentary, and Dasha had made Cyr also apologize to her for cheating, so part of her was giving them the benefit of the doubt, and at the same time, she was having so much trouble at home, so she did kind of want to get away. I hate to say it, but Mina was definitely very docile, especially at that point in her life. Dasha took Mina to the roof on separate occasions, and she would ask her things like, do you still have feelings for Cyr? Do you want to be in a relationship with him? And then she also transitioned to asking her if she wanted to be in a polyamorous relationship with the two of them. She made sure she had all these conversations when Mina was under the influence of alcohol. And I know Dasha's defense has been, I didn't force any drinks down her throat. No, you didn't, but you also only ever had one drink or none, and you did refill her wine glass often. I saw it myself. You were so invested in Mina that you would grill her about her future and intimidate her to the point that she would break down crying. And you know this, and that's why you resorted to writing her on notes. You wrote to her, but you gotta start knowing things and stand up for yourself. We can't be your parents and do everything for you because you won't grow and learn that way. I gotta say, Dasha, I definitely agree with you on this one. Mina was very submissive and definitely did not stand up for herself. I mean, she actually knew for over a week that you had deleted her Instagrams and were going into her phone. I only confirmed it. When she asked me, she was like, is this happening? And I awkwardly gave in because I'm a terrible liar. But Mina's not that stupid. She already knew that you deleted her Instagram before I told her, because after she changed her passcode on her phone, suddenly her social media posts and Instagrams stopped getting deleted. And then after she changed her passcode, you ask her, hey, you don't suspect me as deleting your Instagram, do you? But of course, she didn't confront you because yes, she's submissive and couldn't stand up for herself, but at the same time, you were basically the reason she was there to begin with, because you had convinced Cyr to apologize to Mina and buy her flight over. So if she confronted you, that could have risked another conflict on top of the fights you were already having with Cyr. The note says, can I grow thicker skin? Am I able to hustle? Do things without being told? Do I want to be in a relationship with V or not? What do I want? Again, this is what you continuously would say to her at the roof. You introduce this whole idea of, hey, maybe I can see the better in my ex-boyfriend and get into a relationship. You mess with her head. Here is a physical receipt of you saying it despite all your denial. If somehow you still don't believe that Mina was groomed into a three-way relationship, then please listen as I read some of Cyr's note to Mina. I want you to know that I want this to work so much. Dasha does too. I want to make you happy the way I did, and I want to care for you the way I did. I want you to feel that way again so much. You do deserve it. I'm gonna spend more time with you. I've thought about the things you worry about, and we do worry about things, but we get through them together, right? I know we can. I want you to know that this relationship is not gonna be about the three of us. No more confusion, no more feeling weird. Dash and I talked about it a lot today, and I need you to know it's what we want. We aren't gonna leave you in the dust, in the past. It's about all of us. We're gonna do what it takes to help you feel welcomed. Just because it's not conventional doesn't mean we can't want it, right? You don't need a degree in psychology to see what's really going on here. And keep in mind, this note was written after the countless fights between Cyr and Dasha that already had Mina feeling very uncomfortable, especially sharing the same bed. The amount of mind games they played with Mina from the very beginning, especially knowing that she was coming from an abusive household and acknowledging that she was already a weak and submissive character, it really just wasn't right. Dasha, you have said that you're going to be seeing a therapist, and that's fantastic. I'm proud of you for that. However, I highly suggest getting a recommendation for a psychiatrist because you need a proper diagnosis beyond I'm feeling depressed, because I think this sort of activity that you're displaying, goes beyond a simple depression diagnosis. I mean, I don't think anybody that's ever been depressed can justify these sort of actions as depression. In the last video, I showed you a post Dasha made trying to get people to call me out for drama. There are plenty of examples of Dasha unprovokingly bad-mouthing Mina. There's been tweets, and of course that text of her thanking her fan for looking at that gossip thread for her. This sort of thing leads me to believe that she may crave the drama, you know? Even if it's negative attention, to her maybe it's just attention at all. I mean, less than a week after she was exposed for posting on that thread, she posted this picture. Let me remind you what the signature that was put on every single one of her posts on the gossip thread looked like. Honestly, there's just been way too many coincidences with this woman that I just don't even know what could be a coincidence or if she's directly doing it because of something she's seeing. You know, part of me fears that despite me airing all this out, showing all this evidence, all this proof of the type of person she is, that she still somehow might be getting off to it. Which leads me to my next point. Some people left comments asking, Edwin, why aren't you taking legal action? And for one, I'm not the victim here, but Mina is doing it, if that makes you feel any better. However, she's not interested in publicly talking about it because she doesn't want people constantly asking for updates and stuff. And from what she's found out so far, it is going to be a lengthy and complicated process, especially because she's in the UK and she's a British citizen, and Dasha is in America and she's not even an American citizen. I chose to make this video because I wanted to use my voice to highlight the immense amount of ongoing harassment and the negative influence she's been infecting other random strangers on the internet, on gossip sites, and other influencers on Instagram and other stuff like that. Not to mention the hundreds of screenshots of her publicly lying and humiliating the both of us on Twitter and videos and stuff. I have all of those receipts. Her laughing and encouraging hate pages against Mina and retweeting people that would insult her. Her anonymous posts are not the first time she's been verbally hateful against Mina. I also want to say that I've made videos calling out Logan Paul, Social Repose, Poppy, and other internet personalities that I disagree with. So why would I give Dasha a pass just because I knew her? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so the last thing might come off a little bit extreme, but if you've watched these videos that I've done on Dasha and you can justify even half of the things she's done and you continue to support her, then I want absolutely no association with you whatsoever. I know it may sound extreme, but please consider these things being done and said about someone you loved and how you would feel. I want to take a moment to commend Timothy Heller and Haley Waits for being brave and speaking out against Dasha publicly. I know it's a weird word to say brave, especially considering everything that's been presented, but I've heard plenty of whispers from other social media influencers that they're afraid of Dasha and that they just don't want to unfollow her or stop supporting her because they're afraid that she might go after them. And I understand that. I understand your concern. Dasha is aggressive, but she's not as dangerous or powerful as you think. If people don't stand up to people like Dasha, then she's going to continue being powerful because nobody knows the things she's done. But people need to know the way she works. That way they'll know not to work with her, not to support someone that's so just evil. There is power in speaking up and power in staying silent. However, when you stay silent, you give your power to the abuser. And this is why I'm using my platform to speak out against Dasha, because I am sick and tired of seeing her use her power and influence in such a negative way. Okay, that's the video. Thank you for watching.